Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time to continue on with the Football Alphabet series as we move into the second part of the M segment of this series, which is, of course, as we normally do, the best players whose surnames or primary names begin with the letter M. If you want to check out any of the other episodes thus far, the playlist link is in the description, and whilst you're here, like and subscribe and ring the notification bell if you have not done any of those things already. And without any further ado, here is my Hall of Fame of the best players whose surnames begin with the letter M. Number 1. Lionel Messi. The GOAT in my eyes. I couldn't start with anyone else but the diminutive Argentine in a video like this. Born in 1987, Lionel Messi signed for Newell's Old Boys at the age of just 7, although 3 years later he was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, and Newell's Old Boys didn't want to contribute to the funds needed to be raised for his treatment. Their loss, of course, and sensing an opportunity, Barcelona agreed to pay for his medication and snapped him up in 2001, apparently signing off the deal on a paper napkin. After a year of settling into life in Spain, which proved difficult owing to Messi's inherently shy character, he formed a part of Barcelona's C and then B teams before finally making his debut for the senior side in 2004, and the rest, as they say, is history. The Flea was originally a flair player when starting out, but as the end product to his game started to become more refined to great effect, he became the team's chief attacker, combining his insane dribbling capabilities with fantastic vision, creativity, and goal-scoring abilities, making more assists than anyone else in the 21st century and becoming Barcelona's all-time top goal scorer with 672 goals in 778 games as of the time of this recording. He was the best player at the club during their greatest era, when they won 14 trophies between 2008 and 2012, including 3 La Ligas and 2 Champions Leagues, and every honour on offer to the club in 2009, at picking up the first 4 of his 6 Ballon d'Or triumphs to date in 2009, 2010, 2011 and 2012, the year in which he scored the world record 91 goals in a calendar year. He then formed 1/3 of the Messi-Suarez-Neymar trident, more colloquially known as MSN, that spearheaded Barcelona to a treble in 2015, the second of Messi's career after 2009, and after Neymar's departure in 2017, his importance to the Blaugrana has been more emphasised than ever before, with his genius helping the club to win 2 La Ligas and 2 Copa del Reys during the turbulent years of the late Bartomeu era. I've covered his international career more in depth in my look as to why he isn't revered as much in Argentina as he is elsewhere, which you can check out in the description down below. But in summary, he hasn't won anything with them yet, barring an Olympic gold medal in 2008, but he has still scored 73 in 147 games for La Albiceleste, not being able to match his achievements with Barcelona with those for his nation, although they are still in the Copa America as of the time of this recording, so maybe Messi might finally get his hands on that first and elusive piece of international silverware. Number 2. Diego Maradona. Normally, I only allow myself to cover one team or player per nation, but I'm afraid I have to break my own rule just this once, for reasons which I hope are pretty obvious, because up next, we are profiling the player who was voted as the player of the 20th century alongside Pelé, Diego Maradona. Born in 1960, he joined Argentina's juniors at the age of 8, becoming the halftime entertainment show for them as a ball boy by the age of 12, and in 1976, he finally made his senior debut for them, 10 days before he turned 16. Over the next 5 years, he hit 115 goals in 167 games for them, showcasing his immense agility, close control, finishing ability, and vision, which would serve him well for the rest of his career. He transferred to Boca Juniors in 1981, but within a year, he had finally made his inevitable move to Europe with a transfer to Barcelona, although his time at the Camp Nou was plagued by various setbacks, including suffering a broken ankle after a tackle by Andoni Goicoechea in a game against Athletic Bilbao in 1983, but he did receive a standing ovation from the Bernabeu after a stunning solo goal which he scored against Madrid. However, his time there would end in acrimony after involving himself in a brawl in a game against Bilbao again in 1984, and after his relations with the board broke down, he moved to Napoli for a world record fee of £6.9 million, smashing the previous record that he himself had set 2 years prior. During his 7-year stint there, he well and truly stamped his authority on Serie A, guiding Napoli to their only 2 Serie A's in their history, as well as helping them win a Coppa Italia and a UEFA Cup, and becoming their all-time top goal scorer, although he has since been surpassed by both Dries Mertens and Marek Hamšík. Unfortunately, his performances dipped in 1990 when his addiction started to spiral out of control, and he tested positive for cocaine in 1991, which saw him banned for football for 15 months, and after short stints with Sevilla, Boca Juniors and Newell's Old Boys, he retired in 1997. He won his first caps for Argentina in 1977, although he was controversially left out of their 1978 World Cup winning squad, much to the general anger of the Argentine public, although he would play in each of the next 4, with varying degrees of success. He was brutally targeted in 1982, so couldn't have much of an impact on games, then had perhaps the best tournament by any individual at a World Cup ever in 1986, as he led Argentina to glory, scoring the goal of the century against England, as voted for by FIFA, along the way. Argentina then finished as runners-up in 1990, with Maradona again playing a key role, but in 1994, in what was meant to be his comeback tournament following his various indiscretions, he was led off the field by a nurse in a game against Nigeria and tested positive for ephedrine doping, leading to another ban and the end of his international career. Following retirement, he suffered from various addictions and weight problems, but led a nomadic managerial career that took him from the Argentine national team in 2008 to the UAE, Mexico, and Argentine club Gimnasia, whom he was managing when he sadly passed away in November 2020. Number 3. Gerd Muller. One of the most prolific footballers of all time, Gerd Muller didn't look like your average footballer given his stocky build and short frame, but he was an innate goal scorer with an amazing positional sense and burst of acceleration that meant he was always one step ahead of defences when it came to sniffing out chances in and around the goal. Born in 1945, he started out at TSV Nordlingen, his local club, but after hitting 47 goals in 28 games for them in one season, he signed for Bayern Munich in 1964, although this wasn't the hegemonic Bayern that we know today, as they were in the second tier that season, although with the likes of Sepp Maier and Franz Beckenbauer also at their disposal, they were clearly building something special, something which was only supplemented by Muller's arrival. He helped them win promotion in his first season, and between 1966 and 1978, his lowest goal-scoring season tally saw him still hit 30 goals in all competitions, which is just remarkable. His most prolific league campaign was in 1971-72, when he hit 40 goals in 34 games to guide Bayern to the second of their 4 league titles that they would win with Muller at the club, and his feats were a record for the Bundesliga, which only stood until this season, when Robert Lewandowski scored 41. However, the year in which he won the Ballon d'Or wasn't 1972, despite scoring a record of 85 goals in one calendar year, which was only overtaken, as mentioned earlier, by Lionel Messi in 2012, but it was actually in 1970 when he picked up the prestigious individual award, when he didn't actually win anything at club or international level, but won the Bundesliga kicker Torjäger Kanone, one of 7 he would win during his career, and the World Cup Golden Boot with 10 goals in just 6 games, with his overall record of 14 goals at World Cups, only having been beaten since by R9 Ronaldo and Miroslav Klose. In all, he would hit 68 goals in 62 games for West Germany, a tally which is only surpassed by Klose, who played in 69 more games for Germany than Muller did, and he hit a club record of 563 goals in just 605 games for the Bavarian Giants, winning 4 Bundesligas, 3 European Cups, 1 European Championships, and a World Cup in 1974 to add to a plethora of individual honours. He spent the final 3 years of his career with the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the NASL, but following retirement in 1982, he suffered from alcoholism, although Bayern sent him to rehab, which was successful, and after that, he received a job coaching with their second team, which he kept until the mid-2010s, when it was revealed that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Number 4. Stanley Matthews. A player whose longevity at the highest level is matched by absolutely no one, Stanley Matthews lived and breathed football, adhering to an extremely strict diet and fitness regime which allowed him to play until the age of 50 in the First Division, and even when he retired, he said that he still had a couple of good years left in it. Born in 1915, he was originally encouraged by his father to become a boxer, but at the age of 13, Matthews decided to fully concentrate on football, joining local team Stoke in 1930. One of the finest wingers of his day, Matthews was well known for his crossing ability and trickery on the ball, often feinting past defenders to swing a ball in from wide, or taking the ball to the corner flag and then taking it around the challenge from the defender to create a chance for his teammates. But he could score a few too, hitting an average of 1 every 10 games across his career, which, for a winger in those days, wasn't too bad at all. His career, like many others, was interrupted by the onset of World War II, but in 1947, unhappy with the board at Stoke, he departed for Blackpool, where he had been living during the course of the war owing to his service with the RAF. In his first season there, he won the Football Writers Association Player of the Year award, and 8 years later, he would also win the first ever Ballon d'Or, by this point aged 41, although he was still able to put international fullbacks in a spin owing to his intelligent wing play. Despite his obvious immense talent and career span of 26 years, when one disregards World War II, he only won one major trophy at club level, and that was the FA Cup in 1953, in a game that became known as the Matthews Final, owing to him setting up 3 goals in a comeback 4-3 win for the Tangerines against Bolton. However, he did win 9 home championships with England during his 57 caps for the Three Lions, becoming the oldest player to represent them in 1957 at the age of 42. Following a return to Stoke in 1961, he won another Football Writers Association Player of the Year award 2 years later, before being knighted in 1965, the year in which he finally decided to hang up his boots, although his last ever game would come at the age of 70 in a Brazil vs England veterans match, in which he injured his cartilage, which, as he wrote in his autobiography, cut short a promising career. Proof, if ever it was needed, that age is just a number. Number 5. Paolo Maldini. Inasmuch as I want to include someone a bit more obscure like Giuseppe Meazza, I can't overlook the insane achievements of Paolo Maldini, whose career spanned a quarter of a century and only saw him play for one club during its entirety. Born in 1968, Maldini joined AC Milan's youth ranks at the age of 10, making his senior debut for the club in 1984, and within a year he was already a mainstay in the club's back line, playing predominantly at left back despite being right-footed. A calm and composed defender, he was athletic, energetic and positionally excellent, with phenomenal tackling skills and marking sense, and he combined all of this with an exceptional passing range which allowed him to step into midfield frequently, especially when he deputised or regularly played in a centre-back. Over the course of his 25 years playing all across the backline at the San Siro, he played in 902 games and was pivotal to the club's resurgence under the ownership of Silvio Berlusconi that saw them return to the top of the Italian and European games. He won 7 Serie A titles, 2 of them as captain after he was appointed to the role in 1997, 5 European Cups or Champions Leagues, and a Coppa Italia, but despite all of this, as well as Italy's abundance of squad depth during his time with the national team, he never won a trophy with them, coming in second at the 1994 World Cup and the 2000 Euros, and missing out on Italy's 2006 World Cup success owing to having retired from representing the Azzurri after the 2002 World Cup in Japan and South Korea. Many players, including Zlatan Ibrahimovic, R9 Ronaldo and Roberto Baggio, have all said that the Italian maestro was the best defender they'd ever played against, and he was arguably the best in the world in 2 separate positions for a period of time, which is no mean feat. He retired from football in 2009, and AC Milan immediately retired his number 3 shirt number, only giving his sons the ability to wear the iconic number should they one day play for the club, although Daniele has chosen not to take up the number 3, which is quite wise considering he's actually a midfielder. But Maldini Sr. is still employed to the Rossoneri as a technical director, as well as dipping his feet into professional tennis, albeit very briefly, and co-owning US Championship club Miami FC. And that just about wraps up today's video looking at the best players whose surnames begin with the letter M. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. You can check out the video I made on Lionel Messi's international career down in the description, as well as the Football Alphabet players, for you to check out all of the episodes that I have made in this series thus far. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.